Hello, and welcome to this episode of Pop Goes the Fandom. I'm your host, Tyler Birch, and today we're talking about the Dragon Ball franchise. So, this franchise is very near and dear to my heart. It was actually my first anime. I still love it, even though sometimes it gets really ridiculous. So, I'm really excited to talk to you about it today. First off, we're going to kick off the back of the box. So, to start off, Dragon Ball started out as a manga. So, that was in the late 80s. Started out as a manga, went on for many chapters, and eventually became an anime. So the original anime was called Dragon Ball. How could you have expected the anime to be called a manga? I'm just as surprised as the rest of you. And then a sequel series called Dragon Ball Z, and then another sequel series named Dragon Ball GT, which apparently became the red-haired stepchild of the Dragon Ball franchise because it doesn't actually exist there anymore. So I guess they just didn't like what they did with that. So they started another sequel series called Dragon Ball Super that was wrapped up, not too long ago. So pretty much the entire series follows the character of Goku. So Goku starts out in Dragon Ball. He's this little kid who's been orphaned. He doesn't know where he's from really. He has a tail, which apparently is not a normal thing. Made me feel different, so that was always nice. I like to feel like a weirdo with my tail. And he's really strong. And they're like, why is this kid so strong? Like, he shouldn't be able to beat up aliens, adult males, dinosaurs, really just whatever was thrown at him. He also was able to turn into a giant ape, which was really surprising. So, which you actually don't get those answers really answered. That didn't make any sense. You don't get those questions really answered until Dragon Ball Z, where you follow the exploits of adult Goku. He has a kid now, he has a wife, doing the whole American dream thing. He's learning more martial arts. This whole series is all about him being able to fight, learning martial arts, getting special abilities. And with that came the introduction of the fact that he is actually an alien from an alien species called the Saiyans. So it turns out that there's these things called Saiyans, kicked everything up a notch. So the Saiyans started showing up in their little orb ships, they were pods, which aren't actually supposed to be able to, we're not going to get into that because that's the whole thing. But, so it turns out, so the Saiyans start showing up, he meets his brother, who's a jerk. He gets to meet Vegeta, who's the other main character pretty much. They're always going at it, always trying to outdo each other, they're always fighting. So that, that dichotomy of like the nice happy-go-lucky guy, the protagonist, and then I guess not dichotomy, and then his foil, where he's kind of gruff and mean. He starts out as a bad guy, eventually becomes a good guy, you see all the time. He meets people like Piccolo, green alien dude from Namek. He is his son Gohan. Gohan's the best. Probably gonna go on a really long rant about how Gohan got screwed. So be prepared for that. So that one shows him as an adult. And then Dragon Ball Super shows him as an adultier adult. I'm kidding. The dude's a total fool. Like, he's not a responsible adult at all. He's just slightly older, so his kid is more grown up, which happened at the end of Dragon Ball Z, but you can see a little bit more. So it follows him just trying to become stronger. Really, that's the whole crux, is him gaining more power to fight bigger and bigger guys. That's the entire series. For just being real with you. But there's a lot of heart in Dragon Ball. A lot of really good moments, a lot of really great relationships as well. And people usually push their limits because of those relationships. Things like the big power up became going Super Saiyan, and that's when Goku, who was a black-haired, I think brown-eyed boy, would become a blonde-haired, blue-eyed boy. Because that's apparently the superior form. I don't know. It was very Aryan Nation vibes. And he went Super Saiyan, which is something that was never done before. No one else was supposed to do it. Quickly along, everybody else is able to do it because you can't just have that one guy be able to be the most powerful, or it gets pretty boring pretty fast. But you see him become more and more powerful, or Super Saiyan 2, Super Saiyan 3. I know, it's very original. The big difference is their hair changes. So, And then they get like more electricity, more aura, and then a Super Saiyan 3, he gets like really long hair for some reason. I don't know. I don't know what's exactly in that water, but. And then Super Saiyan 4, which does not exist anymore because that was a part of GT and it looked awesome. Then there's things like Super Saiyan God, which is just a red-haired version of him. And then there's Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan, which is just a mouthful, and I hate that they did that. That is just ridiculous. And then, so there's constant power-ups, usually marked by different colored hairs. So if you see him with blonde hair, then he's Super Saiyan. If you see him with red hair, he's a Super Saiyan God. If you see him with blue hair, Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan. And then there's the final transformation they've included. I say final, but it's really just so far. Called Ultra Instinct, and his hair turns silver, and he pushes past his limits that way. So it's very much just him powering up to be bigger and bigger guys. There's usually different arcs, usually with a big bad, like Frieza, Cell, and Boo are the big ones of Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball Super, you know, there's Garen and like all the other ones. So it's kind of a lot going on, you know. But it's a very long series. Marked one of the things that you'll have heard, even if you don't know anything about Dragon Ball, there's probably 2 things you'll hear. Maybe 3 things. The first thing is the over 9,000. So you there's no way you haven't heard about over 9,000. It's not possible because so many TV movies have done that as jokes, because when they were looking at Goku's power, you know, they were like, oh yeah, he's just like his weakling. You know, there's no way he's better than the other Saiyans. And Vegeta's like, he's got his little scanner that shows the power level, and he just starts powering up more and more and more. And he's like, what? This is impossible. He's over 9,000. And he like breaks the scanner because he thinks it's broken, but really it's just because Goku is the best and is about to wallop them. That's right, I said wallop. Yeah, I have been in many fights in my life. You know, a little bit of fisticuffs. But so that's one of the big things you probably heard. The second thing is probably that you've heard that it takes many episodes for transformations to happen. So when in the fight with Frieza, when Goku actually went Super Saiyan, I think it was 6 episodes of him powering up. So it was just him just like, okay, let's do this. Let's do this. Damn chair. Alright. So it was just him oh! And it's like, it's all about the shout and just like the clench, you know? He's just like, oh! And just imagine like my hair going spiky and gold and my eyes mysteriously changing colors, and I'll have gone Super Saiyan. So that's probably like the other thing. And then the third thing is just kind of a running joke about how terrible a dad Goku is. He's really terrible. He constantly leaves his kid to go train, and he's just really not there. And it's really sad when a green alien dude who puts the kid up on a cliff and tells him to survive for a year, not just like a night, like a year. And he actually becomes a better dad than Goku is to Gohan. So, you know, yeah, so Saiyans have a lot of abilities and go Super Saiyan, but they have this really bad habit of being terrible parents. So, you know, it happens. It's good to know. It's how you know that they're just like us. But, so that is a little bit about Dragon Ball. It's ridiculous. It's fun. It was my first introduction to anime, and I have never looked back since. So I definitely urge you to check it out if you want. It's totally up to you, but you won't regret it. I mean, it's long, it's a slog, but it's also a lot of fun, a lot of good characters, and you just get to see dudes just, you know, get stronger and stronger. Just go at it. Like, that's all I can say. So go check it out. That's Back to the Box. That went on a lot longer than I thought it was going to. Turns out I have a lot of thoughts about Dragon Ball. Who knew that my first anime would be the one I have a lot of ideas about? So next we'll talk about the Pop Showcase. So I chose a few. Like I said, Dragon Ball Z has come out with so many pops, like a ridiculous amount. Like, you look at the new waves and you're just like, these are the deepest of cuts. Like seriously, like they did a Piccolo, the green Namek dude, with his arm missing. Like he just has like a stump, and it's like, who needed him with just a stump? Like I don't. Who asked for that? Like who mailed in? Like hey, I need this version of Piccolo is where he has no arm. Like no one's asking for that. Like so but people are probably buying it. Like it's definitely a completionist thing. But so I picked a good amount, but they're still not going to be like anywhere close to shit. You know, it's the tip of the iceberg. So if you're a really big fan of Dragon Ball, go and check them all out. They have some really nice ones. Like I've really been impressed with this line. So I'm excited to tell you a little bit more about them. So, first things first, I have to tell you this. I'm going to really draw this out because we're going to be talking about this for 6 episodes. There. Okay. I don't know. I was like, I gotta do that bit at some point, right? Just to keep the Dragon Ball spirit alive. You know, just a kind of thing. But I don't know why I'm being so wacky this time. But so, like I said, chose a bunch of them. The first one that I chose is actually, this one was really easy because it's my very favorite version of my favorite character, and that is Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. So in the Cell Game Saga, which is the best saga, don't let anyone tell you any otherwise, Gohan, Goku's kid, reaches a level of Super Saiyan that no one has reached before. He becomes a Super Saiyan 2. So there's a lot more electricity, big aura, bigger hair kind of thing, to fight Cell, who was the biggest bad of that time. And it was a really hyped moment. There actually was supposed to be, like, Gohan was supposed to be the one that took over at the end of the saga, but apparently Goku just couldn't let go of the, you know, he couldn't hope for better for his kids like you're supposed to. He wanted all the glory for himself. But, so, this pop, I actually have this pop. Ta-da, da-da-da-da-da, ba-ba-da-da-da, ooh, ooh. So this pop is one of my favorites. They did a really great job with it. I don't take them out of the box very often. There are some are still in their box, I promise. You remember the first screen we did that's over there, where the shelves? They're still in the box, I promise you. These are just my favorite fandoms. But this one, they did a really great job because there's a ton of electricity, which is key to Super Saiyan 2. You got the greenish bluish eyes, you got the gold spiky hair, you have the scuff marks from the battle because he was getting real beat up. You have the outfit, which is Piccolo's outfit that he was like, hey, can I have a copy of that? And so this is what, and so he's got his purple outfit, he's got his Namekian shoes, and he has a little aura on there in the back, you see? Probably not. But so he actually, he looks really beefy. He looks like he's ready to go. They really captured that energy that you expect from Super Saiyan 2 because that thing is just monstrous. At the time, it was monstrous. Yeah, I know there's 4 more forms after that now, but at the time, it was monstrous. Everybody was like, oh my god. Everybody was like, that's not even possible. Why is this little, he was like a dweeby kid, and he was, able to surpass Goku, which people didn't think could happen. So it was a really big deal. And I just think they really captured the energy really well. So I definitely, this pop sold out really fast because people understand how awesome Gohan is and how awesome this moment was. So I think this one is perfect, honestly. It's maybe my favorite pop of all time. So the next one I'm going to talk about is the guy who's going against, and that's going to be Perfect Cell. So I have that one as well. Oh, and that was a GameStop exclusive that came out a couple years ago. Perfect Cell. Ooh, ooh. See him? See him? Yeah? Yeah? Don't worry. There will be pictures accompanying this. So, Perfect Cell is the best bad guy of the Dragon Ball Z series, in my opinion. And hopefully the opinion of a lot of other people. Cell Game Saga is named after him. I know. So what he is he's an android containing the genetic DNA of all the top fighters. He's got Piccolo, he's got Goku, he's got Vegeta, just, so many different people, and he's the strongest. Like, so he starts out in this little bug form, and he has to absorb these androids. And when he does, if he absorbs one, he becomes Imperfect Cell, which is like a stronger version, but not quite there. And then he becomes Perfect Cell. So it's, and like he's pretty mean looking. Like, he's definitely like a bug dude, but he's got all the lightning around him because he's the strongest. Like, he gets on the level of Super Saiyan 2, which is kind of amazing. And you see he's got his wings, he's got the little stinger. He doesn't really need it anymore, just because, I mean, he's absorbed the people he needs to become a perfect being. You see he's got the purple, he's got all the green, the carapace, the purple joints. So it's just a really well done pop of what Cell looks like. This pop is different than the regular Cell. This one is supposed to be him more powered up, so it has the electricity. The regular one is just kind of him doing the same thing, but no electricity. So I think they did really well on this one as well. I'm a huge Cell fan, so I was really excited to see this one. It's actually pretty recent. I believe this is an Emerald City Comic Con 2020 edition, so very, very recent, but one of my favorites now. So, alright, so the third one I'm going to be talking about is going to be Majin Vegeta. So, in the third saga, the Buu saga, there's this guy, Babidi. He's like a sorcerer, and he can like give people power-ups, but they pretty much become the most evil versions of themselves. So Vegeta, in his quest to be able to best Kakarot, aka Goku, becomes Majin Vegeta, and he becomes ultra strong, and he tries to take down Goku. Ends up sacrificing himself in like a pretty emotional moment, actually, because Vegeta, he's had this arc of like jackass to like pretty cool hero dude. So it kind of culminates in that, him as like a family man and stuff. But this pop's just really nice. It's got the M on there for Majin. He's all scuffed up, you know, he's just crackling with energy. This is an over9000.com exclusive, which is a really big deal. And it radiates power, which is what Vegeta's all about. So they did a really good job with that one. But it's just a really, what I love about what they're doing with the pops now is I love the energy, you know, that raw intensity, because that's what fighting is about in a lot of animes. It's all about, you know, it's big colorful explosions, it's rippling muscles, like it's electricity, you know, auras, all kinds of things that really show you like these guys are mean business. Usually taking characters who are a little bit more goofy, like Luffy and Goku, and making them a lot more serious, where you're like, okay, cool, I'll do whatever you say, just please don't hurt me. Like, so it's a really, really big deal. It's a really well done pop. I think they really knocked it out of the park. The next one we talk about is Shenron. If you don't know Dragon Ball, Shenron is the great dragon that is summoned by the Dragon Balls that the series is named after. So they, you know, gather all the Dragon Balls into a circle, and then they can make 3 wishes. So, you know, it's a really big deal. They use it a lot to bring people back to life after they die. You know, half the bad guys are always trying to get the Dragon Balls to, you know, become more powerful, or, you know, I don't know, give themselves weird abilities. I don't know. Turn Goku into a kid. It gets weird. I don't know. But so Shenron is this giant Chinese dragon. He's just straight up power, and he's a green dragon, got a yellow underbelly. He looks such a great design, red eyes. He's very godly. You know, he's always talking really deeply. What I love about the ones that they did for him, what they did is, first of all, it's a 6-inch pop, and so he's really big. He's coiled up, you know, like Chinese dragons do, and around him are all the Dragon Balls on like the platform. So it's really cool. I really love that they added that, because it just kind of gives that extra layer of detail, which I'm a really big fan of. If you're a big fan, Funimation is going to be releasing a 10-inch, so it's going to be larger than 6-inch. Obviously 6 is larger than 10, so I'm glad you came here for the Sesame Street lesson. The word or the letter of the day is A, so make sure that you use only A words, which I'm not going to attempt because I just know it's going to fail epically. But so they're coming out with a 10-inch. It's a really big deal. It's metallic. It's glow in the dark. It's going to be awesome. So if you're a big fan, go and pre-order that right now. It's definitely going to be a key piece of my collection, not just in Pops, but in just like nerd culture overall. But yeah, so Shenron, awesome. They did a really good job. I mean, there's not really much you can add on to it. You could just, I think the glow in the dark element that they're adding for Funimation is just going to be like really nice, because then like it gives that more idea of like a power and aura kind of thing. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, you get it. Yeah, I see you in the back. You understand. So Shenron. The next one I'll be talking about is it's called the Gotenks Ghost. So Gotenks is the fusion of Trunks, Vegeta's kid, and Goten, one of Goku's kids. So they become this really strong, really powerful being named Gotenks. He has this really ridiculous power that he can like regurgitate ghost versions of himself that are explosions. It's really odd. Like I said, it's a little wacky. Anime is just wacky in general, usually. Depends on the anime. Do not quote me on that. There are some real messed up animes that are not wacky at all. But so it's this levitating ghost. So it's got spiky hair of Gotenks, but it's white as a ghost, blue eyes. It's a really awesome. It's just really awesome that they did something like that. I think that's why I bought it, was because like it's just so ridiculous. Like I love that they like, as much as they do like those in the weeds ones where you're just like, why? Like you get things like the Gotenks Ghost, something you never thought you would actually see in a figure, and boom, there it is. So I love that one a lot. I hope you enjoy it as well. It's just real goofy. I am going to talk about Grade 8 Vegeta. So like I said, they could turn into giant apes. It's kind of the same thing. That's why you have to chop off the tail. If you chop off the tail, they can't turn into they can't turn into apes. But if you don't, then you're in for a world of hurt, because those things are real mean. And Vegeta becomes an ape when he realizes that he might not be able to stop the Earthlings in his arc. So you see him, and they did a really good job with the apes. So they're 6-inch, real big, just beefy. The cool thing about Vegeta is normally when you're a grade ape, your clothing gets ripped off because you're turning into Story's high ape. So your yoga pants probably aren't going to fit. But with what Vegeta's wearing, he actually has, like, his uniform is actually fitted so that it expands as you become an ape. And so him having his Saiyan outfit, with the white, the yellow, the blue, working against that brown skin, the brown skin and the brown fur, it really works on a really good level. Because they came out with the Grade 8 Goku, and it was just like him, like this ape that's naked. I mean, he's got fur. He's not naked. Let's calm down. Okay, there's children. But it doesn't really pop as well as the Vegeta one is. So I really enjoy that they made that little twist, and it really stands out. So it's and there's a lot of power, and just like ferocity, because these things are feral. Like they really can't control them very well, if at all. So it's really cool to see, and I like that they really brought in, because the apes are a really big deal, especially early on. So we need to be able to see more of that. But so those are the 6 ones I chose. I hope you enjoyed hearing about them. I think they're great. There are so many other good ones. If you're a big fan of Dragon Ball, go check them all out. Your collection's gonna expand like that. Like, I mean, it's ridiculous, all the different kinds that they have, and I don't think they're gonna stop, because, like I said, they started getting into those really into the weed pops, and hopefully we're gonna see some good stuff coming out of that. Some stuff that I've thought of that I would like to see. We're just gonna have to see what happens. Maybe it'll happen, maybe it won't. I don't know. But that is the perfect segue into the concept pop section. So, as you know, the concept pop section is where I talk about some of the pops I would like to see come out of the series in the future. And this one was really hard because, like I said, they came out with a ton of them. So, my concepts are definitely going to be a little bit more geared towards things like that are lesser known, or like rides and things like that. So definitely one I think they need to do is, remember I said the Saiyans have like those little ball pod things. I want to see one of those as a pop. I want to see they can do it where it's like the hatch is open and inside is Vegeta or Goku. I think that would be really cool because those pods pop up everywhere. It's kind of ridiculous. Like seriously, like it's just like, oh look, I got a pod. Oh man, that person died. Nah, they got on a pod. It's fine. So I think we need the pod. Like I don't know why we don't have one of them in the pod. Uh, so I would like to see something like that. It definitely in the future. I think it could be really cool, especially just because, I mean, you could do, I don't know the capabilities, but one of the things is, so the Great Ape form is triggered by the moon, the full moon, kind of like a werewolf. And so what this pod can do is the hatch actually can like do like this like big little projection of the moon into the sky, and that actually triggers the transformation. I guess as long as they believe the moon's out there, it counts. I don't know. But so I think maybe like you could do like a little moon projection, maybe. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know the capabilities. That'd be cool to include, but you know, work with what you got. But I would love to see the Saiyan pod. The next thing I need to see, I absolutely need the other forms of Cell. So we need regular Cell with his like very insect body, with his tail all wrapped around. His no, he doesn't have a mouth. He actually starts out very bug-like, and then he becomes more human-like with each transformation. I don't know. I guess perfection is in the human body. I don't know. Don't believe that, but so I want to see regular Cell, and then I want to see imperfect Cell, his second form, just because I think those are really important transformations, and they all are very unique. It's not just like perfect Cell, and then there's like imperfect Cell, and it's like, oh, like he's slightly different. No, he's different. Like he's got a very different look, and then regular Cell has a very different look than everything else. So I think we need to see one of those. We could see like an Android 17 being sucked up by Cell. So like maybe like an Android 17 pop, and then a Cell pop at his tail, because like I said, he sucks up the androids through his tail. So like the little funnel over him, it'd just be really goofy. But you know, who knows? But that's a really iconic transformation. So I think we need to see those different versions of him, because then we could be like regular Cell, imperfect Cell, perfect Cell, perfecter Cell, and we'll be able to get that full transformation. I think that's really important, in my opinion, and I think the design is just really cool. And if we're gonna get Piccolo with no arm, we should get a imperfect Cell. So next would be a couple of moments. So I need to have a Cell and Gohan Cell games moments, because there's a moment where there's they're crackling with energy. They both shoot off Kamehamehas, which is Goku's signature move, and it's supposed to be like the most ultimate move. But they connect, and they're doing this big battle, Harry Potter style, 20 years before Harry Potter did it, where they're like fighting for control in between each other, like who's more powerful, who's gonna kill who. And I just need to see that. Like I would love to see a Gohan and Cell just going at it, with the energy in between them. I think that'd be really pretty freaking cool. Like honestly, I would buy that in a heartbeat. That's something I've always wanted to see, just because there's so much we could do with the moments, and I would like to see that utilized a little bit more. And then finally, I think having Goku on Snake Way. So Goku's died a lot. For a main character, he's died multiple times, but sometimes he'll go on this place called Snake Way, and it's this path. It's like, I guess, purgatory, because like he's not really in heaven, but he's not in hell. So he takes Snake Way to get to one of his friends that he meets, and one of his trainers that becomes a friend. But it's just like this stone snake that just goes all like loops around, and so I would love to see like him like running with the halo, just running along Snake Way, just because we spent a lot of time on Snake Way, and I just think it's a really iconic location. So I'd really like to see that, just in my personal opinion, because I don't know, there's something about that snake, that stone snake path that I've always dug. I don't know what it is. But those are my concepts. I was actually really excited that I was able to think of these ones that are a pretty big deal to me, that aren't out yet, given the fact that there's so many Dragon Ball ones. So who knows what will happen? Maybe in a future wave. Who knows? Maybe I'll get some modeling clay and make my own. Probably not. I'm terrible with clay. So before I go into the next one, I just want to talk to all of you about my Patreon. So if you like videos like these, if you just want to get more nerdy information from me, go and check out my Patreon. It's patreon.com/birchversecreate. So it's B-U-R-C-H, not like the tree. So give me a look. I post a lot of stuff that relates to movies, just nerd culture. I do videos. I'm actually really excited. I just introduced a new tier. It's the $5 tier. It's actually going to be a monthly video series about the exploits of a man who wakes up as a pop. So that actually is where this little guy will come into play. So last summer, one of my friends actually painted a pop to look like me. Terrible look. I'll post a better picture on my Patreon. But so this little guy is going to be going on misadventures. He's going to be, getting into trouble with other pops. He's going to be trying to do normal things like start a faucet. I don't know why I said that. Like it was the city from Shazam. Yeah. And he's going to find out it's a little bit harder when you're a pop. So something really exciting that I'm really excited to try. There's other tiers for like my concept pop videos where I talk about things we haven't seen yet, like fandoms we haven't seen. Like I just finished one. The last one I did was on Ratchet and Clank. It's really exciting because there's a lot of different properties out there that haven't gotten the Funko treatment, and we're getting more and more fandoms. So I want to see more of these. So I'm really excited about that video series. It's a little bit shorter than these ones, but it will talk about what an initial wave looks like. What I'd like to see is like a pop ride and a pop moment. So go check that out. There's tiers just to be involved. There's tiers where you get. I also have a snail sticker business, so you can get involved with that, where you get different snail stickers every month. So it's kind of like a little loot crate type deal, but with stickers. So I guess not like loot crate at all. So there's a lot of really good stuff over there. So definitely go check it out. Support me. I want to give a lot more content to people, and I definitely won't be able to do that unless I get more support on Patreon. So go check me out. Patreon.com/birchversecreate. B-U-R-C-H, not like the tree. So I'll get that. Just want to get that plug out of the way. So my discussion with myself, because I am the best listener I know. It's just going to be just talking about the impact that Dragon Ball Z had on me as a kid. I remember when I was a kid, little old me, barely taller than this. I remember just watching Toonami on Cartoon Network. That was a little bit more like adult, what seemed like adult to me when I was like 7, shows and things like anime. Dragon Ball Z was on there, and so I watched that all the time. It was my first anime. I remember watching it late on Saturday nights, just being astounded at this show that had all these different power-ups, just constantly like all these different characters that are doing all these different things. Seeing Gohan, who I was the same age as at the time, being like this little 9-year-old who like was like, I want my mommy, like I'm an academic, I'm not a fighter, like become Super Saiyan 2 Gohan to destroy Cell, something that his dad couldn't do. Like it was insane. Like I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my god, like am I this awesome secretly? Do I have these secret abilities? Do I? Apparently not. I tried. It doesn't matter. I did it for like 12 episodes of grunting and same brown hair, spiked up a little bit, but that was just because I was going a little insane, so I needed something. But it was just such a big deal, and it was my first foray into anime, and I've never looked back because they have such rich storylines, and the animation is just always on point. Like Dragon Ball Z to me didn't look like an anime that was 10 years old at the time. To me it looked like it was the same stuff that was coming out right now. you know, and it's led me to so many things, you know. So yeah, it's got problems. I will say, like, it is something that I will always treasure, but some of the content that we have now is just leagues above it. But I'll always remember my first anime, you know. And I am so upset that we never got the Dragon Ball run where Gohan was in charge. Like, after the Cell Game saga, Goku sacrificed himself, and he's like, I'm gonna stay dead for a while just because I'm getting tired of this whole being brought back to life thing. And that time, Gohan was supposed to take over, and I was so ready for it. It was so ready. And then they did a time skip, and he was this like nerdy high school dude that was like, I want to be a superhero, and it's like, well, then be a superhero, and like, it was like, no, Goku's back, and Goku's gonna do all the things. And I was like, why? Why would you do this to me? Why would you take this away? And I was like so upset because I was so interested to see what a Gohan series would be like, you know. And they've never done him right since then. Yeah, he's got power ups, and you know, there's been a lot of times where like, oh yeah, you're the best, dude. Like, you're gonna kick so much butt, and it's like, yeah, totally, man, you're the best. Like, for like an episode, and then you get trounced, and then someone else comes in. Like Gotenks helped defeat Boo. Like Gotenks, like these little toddler kids that were able to fuse, and it's like, and then like Gohan's like, oh yeah, I got my mystic form, and you're like, oh hell yeah, let's do this. And then like he like kicks butt for 10 seconds and then gets absorbed, and it's like, come on, dude, like why? Like, it's something that will always confuse me as why they didn't go with that. And in some different universe, some different timeline where everything went right, there's a Gohan series out there, and I'm watching it and I'm loving it, and I probably got like a Super Saiyan 2 Gohan like tattoo like on my head. Not really, I would never do a face tattoo, but I would love to see that. I would say you never know what's gonna happen with the future, but they had 2 goes at a sequel, and neither of them were about Gohan, so I'm probably just gonna have to shelve that dream. But I would have loved to see him try to tackle being the strongest person alive while also trying to be an academic, because his mom's always wanted to be an academic and his dad's always wanted to be a fighter, and he was really great at both. So seeing him try to balance that, I guess it'd be more of like a superhero show, like his Saiyan man that he was trying to be at the beginning of the Buu saga. I guess something more like that, but it would have been something different than what we normally get with Dragon Ball. But you know, you gotta live life without regrets. But I will always, always root for my man Gohan. Even as I'm ridiculed by my brother, I will still do it. Because he is the best. And you do not forget that, alright? One takeaway from this episode. One takeaway. You watching me? Are you paying attention? Okay? Write this down. Gohan is the best. No one else compares. He got shafted. We riot. Alright? I hope you wrote that down. There will be a quiz later, so be on the lookout. But that was just my rant that I warned you about Gohan and his place in Dragon Ball Z. So that's really all I have for you. I hope you enjoyed learning about Dragon Ball. I know it sounds like a kooky mess. It is. That doesn't mean it's not great. Alright, because there's a place in this world for random nonsense, crazy power-ups, and just overall fun and badassery. So I hope you enjoyed that. All's left, there's not really any Funko news right now. A lot of stuff is just getting canceled because of everything with the coronavirus, which is really a big shame. So I'm really worried about what exactly kind of pop landscape we're going to be coming out to. So we're going to see what happens with that. But, so not really any news. Don't forget, if you haven't already, to find us on Facebook, Pop Goes to Fandom. Give us a follow. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do that. That's where I post all these videos. If you haven't followed us on Twitter, it's @GoesFandom. On Instagram, it's PopGoesToFandom19. And lastly, like I said, please go support me on Patreon. There's a lot of really great stuff I want to do, but I got to get a little bit more support. So I hope if you like what I do here and you just like seeing my nerdy, my thoughts on nerdy things, go and check it out. There's a lot of really good stuff. But like I said, that's at patreon.com/BirchVerseCreate. So BURCH, not birch like the tree. So give me a look. That's all I got for you. Thank you for sticking with me through the craziness that is Dragon Ball. This is Tyler Birch with Pop Goes the Fandom, popping off.